it's creativity. We've been thinking about, what kind of environments encourage those things, creativity, or we are creating or we are having a stereotyped system which hinder the creativity of people here. So the best way is start from the government, start from public figures. If you can make change, wearing jeans to the office, or you can educate people, how to clean the environment by facing those issues we have to deal with every day. The challenges, for example, traffic pollution.
Correct.
Then we have this probably creative or crazy idea about the electric public system we're building now, transit system we're building now. For example, we want to encourage people to take more electric buses to work or to the MRT stations instead of driving their gasoline consumed cars or motorcycles to work. That may be crazy, but that's creative. Or cleaning the river, not using chemicals, but using man-made wetland. We're building like 300 hectares of man-made wetland, which can purify 1/4 of the sewage in this county. I mean, it's been very successful, and we found out more bird species and fish species came back. It's amazing. We're trying to actually solving problems with those creative ideas, and we're building more galleries for artists by using public buildings we're not using. So we're thinking about those things. I mean, the basic thing is, on one side, we're dealing with those daily issues, problems. But on the other side, we are trying to find creative solutions because practically we have to deal with that. But also it can encourage more people to have crazy creative ideas in this county. And that's one example.
Thanks, great.
Yeah, I think both of you touched upon a very critical point. That is, there are certain things that you need very clear leadership. And government has a very definitive role in enabling things to happen. But during John's last comment, you also have some roles for the public sector to work hand in hand with the government in a partnership. So perhaps Dr. Gao can comment on this last aspect, on the public-private partnership.
Well, here, one thing I'd really like to mention is that 13%, I'm going to write a little piece, 13% I would say it's a national shame figure. What is 13%? 13% refers to the average rate of taxation relative to GNP. That's what the people in Taiwan have been paying in the past few years. 13%. That's one of the lowest in the world. You take even Philippines, you take even those less developed countries, their average rate taxation would exceed 14, 15%. Europe, United States falls about 30, 34, 40, 45%. What it means, it leaves the public sector, federal, central, and Taipei County would have little money, really, to do all the things which we think it ought to do. Otherwise, how can you improve quality of life without sufficient fund? So, but having said that, like Governor Chiu still has to manage somehow to do all sorts of things with very limited budget. Here, of course, the private sector can play a role, saying what we can do to improve the quality of life. Forget about government. Let's see what we can do. And luckily enough, though, as you know, in the past 10, 20 years, including really the chairwoman today, Joanna herself, is involved in a lot of those public charity, public work to promote that. So on the one hand, we ought to raise our tax rate. On the other hand, the private sector still has a responsibility to do.
All right, raising taxes. This is a very dangerous territory. When we come back, we're going to talk about the public-private partnership.
You're
further.
right, 13%.
Teachers lead students to the wetlands for an instructional field trip.
All of this can be attributed to the wetland ecology that the Taipei County government has worked hard to maintain. Not only does this process 280,000 tons of residential wastewater each day, it also attracts many birds, insects, and fish to procreate here, creating a new ecological miracle by the riverbank. In addition, the county government established the nation's first low-carbon community development center. Currently, it is an official member of the international organization ICLEI, Local Governments for Sustainability. Not only does this enable county residents to live in a healthy environment, it also increases how willing international corporations are to make investments and effectively speeds up the development of Taipei County's green economy.
With very limited government budget and very aggressive plan, how do we achieve such a progress? When we come back, we're going to start from perhaps John again, because we're talking about how you provide proper leadership, how you turn the society into embracing such concept so that you don't have to spend a lot of government budget into making things happen.
Well, the UK went through a dramatic change in the late 90s, led by the Labour Party, which said that the future of the country does not depend upon manufacturing. Our manufacturing had declined to be about 17% of GDP. It was falling by about 1% a year, steady decline, which was the same in all of Europe except in Germany. And Tony Blair and a minister called Chris Smith, and Chris was very important, said that the future of the country depends upon the creativity of our people. And the creative industries were adding up to about 5 or 6% of GDP at that time. But he said, and he's absolutely correct, the future of the country's economy and international competitiveness depend upon those creative industries. And so instead of being something marginal and fragmented and really out of sight and dismissed by the mainstream, they were suddenly brought into the middle, and they were sort of baptized by the Prime Minister as the future of the country. Plus, they were paying a lot of money, because they're very profitable, these industries, and they were great fun. Fun and money is a powerful combination.
All right.
And a lot of young people wanted to go work there.
Fun and money so that the young creativity zoom into those industries. Yeah. Well, Governor Chu, you were nodding your heads. And a lot of things seems to be part of your master plan as well. You've brought artists to Taipei, you started new art festivals, you've brought performing groups to remote villages. You've done a lot of things to make sure that the creativity is shared among the people and the overall benefit is also enjoyed by all the people. So having heard the story of London, how would you comment on your own plan and what would you like to see Taipei become down the road?
Well, history is kind of similar because we have very, very limited budgets here in Taipei County. However, we want to promote some new concepts and ideas, or practically we need to solve problems. For example, the arts, cultural activities in Taipei County. We're short of budgets, in doing this. But however, we want to invite all the singing, dancing, art performance in our daily life. What do we do is we work with those groups, artists. We invite them to, one location of a township or city. We try to invite them by paying them low, but everybody will recognize how excellent their performances are. Encourage them. So we are having so many artists, performing groups willing to participate. You can see, even students from elementary schools. In this past 6 months, we have more than 700 performances.
That's wonderful.
But by those elementary schools, students, not mentioning those performing groups in everywhere. So the residents in Taipei County can truly enjoy